We've all been given health advice before. Doctors, coaches, consultants. Everybody's telling you to sleep more, to eat healthy, to exercise. But what does it mean to do healthy things? Take just diet as one example. How many contradicting opinions there are. Some people will tell you to eat fish, and they're correct. There's a lot of omega-3 fatty acids, those are good for your heart, and that's healthy. But the plant-based community is going to tell you that fish is full of microplastics, and those are not great for your health, obviously. And then, hold on, there's a third party, carnivores, who are going to tell you to eat only meat because fiber might make it hard to go to the bathroom. And fish also has those microplastics. And they're not wrong either. Meat has a lot of essential nutrients, and meat is indeed good for you to some extent. Except there are carcinogens which makes meat cause cancer. The thing is, my talk has nothing to do with your diet or your health. It has everything to do with how you think and those contradicting opinions. Now, there's a concept that I've been studying for a while, and they're mental representations, as the neuroscientists call them, or filters, as I would call them. The easiest way to understand this concept would be to think of a big crowd, like 1,000 people. And if there's a friend of yours or a family member, well then, you're gonna see that face straight away, right? Everything else is filtered out. That's why I call them filters, because your brain filters out everything that is unimportant to you in the moment and only makes you perceive what you deem important, well, at that moment in time. And the same is happening to those plant-based people, those carnivores, and the people who are supporting fish. They have a filter that makes everything else, at that moment at least, unimportant or incorrect. And this becomes a problem when you get to the orthorexic point. The word comes from two Greek words, which is ortho, which means right or correct, and rexia, or rexus, which means appetite. Orthorexia, you've probably heard of anorexia. Well, that is not eating enough. Orthorexia is always trying to be eating correctly. Now you can see where this becomes a problem when you try to eat correctly, but skip things like hanging out with your friends to eat correctly. And maybe you'll skip a job interview, or you won't go and land a public speech, because that might have you eat an unhealthy meal. It's an unhealthy obsession with being healthy, and you fell into that trap just because you're filtering out everything else. At that moment, your filter says that you have to be eating healthy, and that means you're filtering out the job interviews, the public speeches, and every other opportunity that could be helping out your life holistically. So in the end, you're sacrificing the ultimate goal for something in between. You're sacrificing your health to be healthy, if that makes sense. It doesn't, right? Obviously it doesn't make sense. Another area where this is really, really easy to understand is the news. Say you're a financial analyst and you see your company that you have a stake in built a plastic plant and now it's getting sued. Bad news, you're gonna adjust your investments. Or maybe you're a biologist and you see this same bit of news and you're worried about the microplastics going into your fish right now. Or you're the environmentalist who sees, once again, that same piece of news, but you're worried about the climate and the earth becoming a big oven. Now, is either of one of those three wrong? I wouldn't say so, but are all of them right? I wouldn't say so either, because they are filtering out what they care about. They're not seeing the full picture. The only one who knows what's actually being reported in that situation is the one behind the post, the journalist, because they know what the news is actually trying to do. Nowadays, the news is not a source of information. It's not there to inform you. Rather, the news is made to entertain you. That's why the headlines are perfectly made to hook your engagement. That's why they're all in red. That's why you're all in caps. And the only one who keeps that in mind while reading the news is not the environmentalist, not the financial analyst, and not the environmentalist, but the journalist. Only they have the correct filter for consuming the news. Hence, if you adjust your investment based on that screaming headline, you might make a big mistake. Or if you stop eating fish because of that same headline and that plastic plant, maybe you're going to make a big mistake on your diet, and maybe you should stick to fish. That's what happens when you take the wrong filter, even with the best intentions, which is being healthy or having your finances in check, and you make a bad decision. And that's because you filter out everything that is unimportant to you in that situation, but what might actually be valuable. And one concept that I like to refer to really make this stick in my mind are cartoon characters. Yes, cartoon characters, because SpongeBob might be a great chef. Yes, he can make you the best burger, but his filter says, if it's fun, do that. Now, that's not going to lead you to the best job opportunities, is it? And to Homer Simpson, because yes, he works at an atomic plant, and yes, he's pretty smart, but his filter says, if it's pleasurable, do that. That's why he's the depiction of an average American. Fat, alcoholic, and eats a lot of junk food. And Scooby and Shaggy, just in case you don't know SpongeBob and Homer Simpson, which I doubt. Scooby and Shaggy only care for the thrill of it, and snacks. That's why they're always trying to catch ghosts, but why they're always unsuccessful, because their filter, filters out everything that is unimportant to them in the situation. And the problem is, we're not cartoon characters. And if we bring the wrong filter, once again, even with the best intentions, such as eating healthy, who doesn't want to take care of their body? You're going to make the worst decision in the situation. That is, you're going to be wrong despite trying to do the correct thing. That's what having the wrong filter, or what neuroscientists call the mental representation, even with a good goal in mind, is going to lead you to a bad end. You're not going to achieve your goal if you think from the wrong perspective. That's why I always say that one filter, or one mental representation, or one perspective, call it what you want to, is a curse. But many filters, and switching around, and picking the one that fits the situation, such as a journalist filtering the news, so just a balanced perspective when it comes to health. Because yes, seeing your friends from time to time might actually be good for you, is going to make you make a better decision that takes in every single perspective. So instead of limiting you, you enlarging your opportunity spectrum. I hope that makes sense, and I hope the next time you're making a high-stakes decision, you think not of your finances, not of biology, but of cartoon characters, because they're the easiest to understand. Thank you.